views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Coming up on this edition of Perspectives, their mission is to mobilize resources to support the transformation of communities in Haiti. Their mission started in 2010 after the earthquake, and they're still actively meeting the needs of people right in Haiti. Coming up on this edition of Perspectives, we'll tell you how you can lend a helping hand. That and more with Perspectives with yours truly, Daren Jaime.
What's on your mind? Express what's on your mind. What's on your mind?
Anything relevant to life, you bring it to the table. Whether you make a move solo or a movement with a stable. No fables, you speak on your decisions. Cause in the long run, it's your voice, your views, your vision. Keeping it real with many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective with shines of light. Cause it might make a difference in someone else's life.
Make a difference in someone's life. Express what's in your heart and your mind. Share your perspective.
What's your perspective? Let them know.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Perspectives. I am Daren Jaime, and of course, we thank you for joining us. And as always, you can watch us here every week on BronxNet's Channel 67. We invite you to stay connected to us also on our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. If you're trying to reach me, you can reach me on my Facebook page. The professional page is Daren C. Jaime. And also on Twitter and Instagram at DCJaime23. There you can find out some information and possibly also some inspiration as well. So please continue to stay connected to us. We want to continue to elevate conversation and bring you informed to the issues at hand. And today, a very special show. My guest is a Haitian-born change agent. And when I tell you she's a change agent, she's a change agent after the year 2010 in the earthquake in Haiti. With her father's inspiration, she actually resigned from her corporate job and created an organization that's actually focused on Haiti's restoration as well as transformation. And she's no stranger to us here on Perspective. She's been with us before. We're pleased to be joined right now by MarieYolaine Toms. And we thank you, Marie, for joining us here.
Thank you, Daren. So happy to see you guys again. Thank you.
Happy to see you too. And happy to see you. And unfortunately, like we're still in the virtual environment the way that we are. We usually have you in studio, but thanks for being with us and, trying to just navigate through this pandemic. But I want to have an opportunity to just share with you and you can share with us a little bit because we talked in the intro about your work really being inspired after the earthquake in Haiti in 2010. Here we are in 2021. Some things still remain the same in terms of earthquake and challenges and devastation. And so can you kind of bring us up to speed for where things are in Haiti right now?
Well, overall, I'll speak through the lens of community to community. Overall, it's been a challenging 3 months or so because during the first half of the year, there were still some political issues going on and issues with security, et cetera. And things reached a head in July with the assassination of the Haitian president. And that investigation is still ongoing. In August, on the 14th, the Grand Sud, which is the Great South, the breadbasket area of Haiti, was hit with a 7.2 magnitude earthquake. And that impacted a lot of the farmers and also folks who were in the city areas. So to my knowledge, I believe it's approximately 5,000 people that are either gone or missing. And since then, there's just been, the focus on from recovery to now response. And many of the surrounding areas like Petit Guave, where C2C is based, mobilized each other as first responders to respond to the issues of their neighbors, whether that was bringing food or water, et cetera. And other nonprofits that were already on the ground, some also Haitian-led like C2C, that have been really focused on making sure that the debacle, I'm going to go ahead and say that, of 2010 as it relates to contributions, funding, et cetera, does not happen again.
And when we look at what's going on right now in Haiti, of course, a lot of turmoil, a lot of questions, and things are still being left to really be determined right now. But the work of community to community, really want to talk about that. And I forgot to say in the intro, you are the CEO of Community to Community, so forgive me for not saying that. And part of that is your work is really bringing aid. And talk to us about where this, the earthquake and the assassination, how has it impacted your ability to really bring aid to that community?
Okay, so first, you've given me an excellent opportunity to educate, right?
Hmm.
So we do not do aid or relief.
Hmm.
So I'm happy you said it, because the narrative around aid and relief is like, clothes or shoes
Right,
or things like
right.
that, right? So we are a service delivery organization. Our whole purpose is to undergird the peasant associations we work with so that they will be self-sufficient. So for all intents and purposes, that includes leadership training, capacity building, et cetera. Because the Peasant Association, it's almost like a block association here in Brooklyn, for
Right.
example. Like if you wanted to come into Bed-Stuy and do something, or on any block, you'd have to talk to the block association to engage them, because you can't just come in and just, color the brownstones or do whatever it is that you would like to do. So we partnered with the Peasant Association in Petit Guave, and that's how we met our Mountainside partner community. And from there, it was their initiatives, the things they were already working on, which was building a state-of-the-art school, reforestation and environmental stabilization, finish their road, which would help them with environmental stabilization as well as economic development, and the water distribution system. So to date, they have completed the water distribution system 50%. There's 2 more phases that are left. They've planted over 14,000 trees. And as of late, our focus has been their health. Since we've worked with them, which is now 11 years, we realized that there was really no access for them to health because they're on the mountainside. So we had a survey that we created along with them, and out of that survey created the Continuous Care Initiative. So things are moving forward, even though it may, the stresses are there, as I'm sure you know, but our whole thing is really not charity, right? But really more so undergirding folks, finding out what they need, listening to them, and getting them the resources that they need so they can advance.
Yeah, and I should make it more clear, but you definitely gave us the education on that. But knowing that these things are going on in Haiti, what's communication been like for you? Because sometimes in times like these, communication can be somewhat sparse and challenging. Has it been pretty clear? Have you been able to communicate with those with boots on the ground?
I'm glad you asked that question, actually. That's another lesson that we learned. So I will tell you, we have tried everything from 2010. There was phone, texting, having different phone systems, et cetera. Where we are now, and it's interesting that this has also been a thing across the world, is Zoom, right? So I think folks, I don't know who knew of Zoom before 2010 during the pandemic, but we supplied the Peasant Association with new laptop and access to the internet. And now our monthly meetings with them, which used to be sporadic, calls dropping, not very productive, honestly. But now with the technology that they have, our meetings run much smoother. We're able to record, we can share if somebody's not able to attend, et cetera. So the communication has definitely gotten better, but it is sporadic all over the country, because it's really access, right, to the towers and access to a good phone system.
Yeah, so a lot of challenges, a lot of challenges there. I want to talk about that continuous care initiative. So give us a little bit about that. We got about a couple minutes before we go to break, but before we can, share with us a little bit about the continuous care initiative and the work that you're looking to impact, how you're looking to impact.
Thank you. In short, the Continuous Care Initiative is named for what it does. The community was not receiving care, and when they did receive it, it was sporadic. So for example, let's say a mobile clinic came. They're on a mountaintop, which is 2 hours away by foot to the nearest hospital. So when or if a mobile clinic came, they would provide some care, but there was no ability to follow up. For example, there was a language barrier because oftentimes it was folks who were international and people would run out of their medication. So what we wanted to do was completely the opposite of that. During the survey, we found that folks had high blood pressure, diabetes, there was vision and dental issues. So the Continuous Care Initiative responded with one local Haitian doctor per month, one local Haitian nurse per week, and one health committee that is trained and lives in the community.
Wow, awesome work. Listen, let's take a quick break, come back and talk with Marie just after the break. Coming up, we'll talk about COVID-19 and how it's impacted Haiti, how it's impacted the work, and we'll take it from there on this edition of Perspectives with yours truly, Daren Jaime. Back here on Perspectives, continuing our conversation with MarieYolaine Toms, who is the CEO of C2C, Community to Community, and doing the great work out there in Haiti and working from the United States and bringing literally empowerment to the people of Haiti in a time such as this. It continues to do great work. And Marie, again, thank you for what you do. Because you quit your job. We talked about how you left corporate America and then really started to embed yourself with a passion for home, which is Haiti. And I think all of us can say that when we look at Haiti, it breaks our hearts to see what goes on and to see the challenges, and from government all the way down to resources to, earthquakes, and how they've been so bereft with so many challenges. But when you look from this perspective, we always say, listen, how can we help our brothers and sisters out there? And so talking about your initiative, but to the average person who's watching right now, who has a heart for Haiti, how can they go about helping out?
Thank you, Darren. I appreciate you asking that. We've learned a lot from 2010, right? So after this most recent earthquake, our goal was that we would not make it 2010 again, whether that was the funding issues or people not being clear on how they could help, et cetera. We wanted to get out ahead of that. So folks interested in helping can help in multiple ways. Clearly visit our website, community2community.info, and you can see the myriad of work that we are doing. What we're looking for right now are C2C Neighbors. C2C Neighbors is a campaign we launched in 2014 to help with our GOAT initiative and stipends for our teachers. So C2C Neighbors give monthly. The amount that you would give is totally your choice. Mm-hmm. And since 2014, we've been able to pay our 9 teachers. After Hurricane Matthew in 2016, we were able to replace many of the goats and other issues that the farmers had, so that they can continue to, engage in their livelihood. Also helping small businesses. Many of the women also have small businesses that they run. So again, you said empowerment, which I really appreciated. And that has been what the C2C Neighbors have been able to do. And it's knowing that you may not be able to go directly to Haiti, but that through C2C, your giving is literally boots on the ground.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of insight as to how COVID-19 has impacted your work. I was having a conversation with someone recently who has some boots on the ground in Haiti, and they were saying you just don't know how well America is blessed, because here it is in America, everybody's on their booster shot pretty much. We're talking about booster shots in New York, this, that, and third. They said, well, only 500,000, doses went out to Haiti in the central part. You've got people up in the mountains and out in the far-reaching areas, and they have not even gotten shot number 1. Is this true? And give us a little bit about what you've heard.
Yes, I actually can confirm that. And to put it even more perspective, you said 500,000. The total number of people is somewhere between 10 and 13 million. So 500,000 towards that. And again, as you fan out to the countryside and you go into the mountainside, I feel reasonably confident in saying that the majority of the folks that we serve have not received the first shot yet, which is why our COVID protocols were so important. And again, the Peasant Association, along with our team here, we have medical folks on our team and logistics folks who created a protocol that then the medical team on the ground held meetings with the Peasant Association to really slow the spread, right? We've been doing that since 2020, and that has not stopped. And again, to put it in perspective, some of the things we're told here, for example, like, keeping a 6-foot distance or staying apart in home. But if you're in a house where there's 10 other people, or you're pressed together at market, for example, and the person next to you is, selling things and they're literally almost on top of each other, it's difficult to do that. But the washing of hands, wearing masks, and socially distancing as much as you possibly can has really helped us where we are. And thank goodness, again, on the mountain, folks are far away from each other. So that's helped a lot. But we're consistently keeping updated in the hopes that the Ministry of Health will really mobilize to move more vaccines out from the capital to go out into the countryside.
Yeah. A lot of people saw that earthquake and said, what a huge setback for Haiti, still trying to recover from the last one. And then you have the assassination of the president, and a lot of political unrest and uncertainty still remains in Haiti. And, the obvious question for people are like, well, where do we go from here? How do we go forward? How do we move? How do we recover from what you're doing and what you see? Talk to us about how can Haiti move forward? How can they recover, given the fact that they are literally, as I said, one instance after another?
Well, I'll say what my dad said, and sometimes it's hard to see it unless you have vision, but he would say, God works everything out for good. I had a hard time with that in 2010, but even with this next earthquake and over the last 11 years, I have seen so many things worked out for good that I am a believer on that now. There are so many more diaspora, meaning Haitian-led organizations now than there were in 2010. And some who were Haitian-led, who'd been on the ground for 30 years, got a lot of press. People started to see that we were already on the ground. C2C is relatively young compared to some of these other organizations that are really also entrenched and have deep roots in the country. So as far as how do we move forward, I would say that it has to be Haitian-led with our allies and our supporters, right? Because I think the old policy has been folks from the international community reimagining what Haiti can be when they're not physically on the ground living out the ideas that they may put on the table. So I think that as we move forward, environmental stabilization has to be a part of it. Economic development has to be a part of it. Really strengthening our education system has to be a part of it. Haiti has a huge percentage of folks, I think it's 80, that are like under 25. So we have a young population that is ready to work, that is educated, and those who are not can get educated in formal education or trade. In our school, for example, as we look to build this state-of-the-art school, it's going to be half formal education, but the other half is about being an electrician, a plumber, hospitality, etc. That if somebody doesn't want to go on to four-year college, for example, that they will still have a trade that they can engage in. And as I shared on another show that I was on, and I want to share here, charity is not the solution to poverty. Prosperity is the solution to poverty. When people prosper, you don't have them leaving the country. You don't have an immigration problem. You don't have folks seeking asylum. You don't have issues of security. You don't have issues of health. When you prosper, you can take care of yourself, your family. You're able to even help your neighbor out. So I think that our focus has got to be in investing in ideas that are vetted and then replicating them.
No, I'm posting that to Facebook, right? That was a great quote. Like, I'm
Thank
serious. You. It is. It really is. I mean, I think that really when you talk about poverty, I think so many times we think about we're just gonna come in, we're gonna lend a helping hand, we're gonna do this, do that. But really, understanding, having people prosper, that's going to really end. It's going to break the cycle of poverty. I want to come back. I want to talk a little bit after the break about the school and the work that you're doing in building a school. Marie will be back with us. Going to take a quick break here on Perspectives. We'll be right back right after this. We'll continue our conversation with Marie, and before the break, she just like slowly threw out there, like the fact that they were working on a school. And the fact is that she's the CEO of C2C, Community to Community, and doing great work, not just in the United States, but also in Haiti. And so, Marie, you kind of like danced and introduced us a little bit and gave us a little carrot. Tell us a little bit more about the school and how that's coming about.
So, you remember, I don't know if you saw the movie that was called Hidden Figures, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I remember watching that movie thinking, I've never heard of any of these women. Why is that? Right. And as we write our proposals for funding, I say in there that I have 300 of these women and in the kids in our school, right? That want to be engineers, nurses, doctors, lawyers, etc. We want our school to be innovative, not just with the chalkboard, because who's using chalk right now?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Right. Okay. So whereas our school, much like the Health and Wellness Center for the Continuous Care Initiative, is going to be solar powered, is going to provide these children with an opportunity to not just be able to compete where they are, but globally, right? And again, we're back to prospering, right? Education is the only thing that once you get cannot be taken away from you, right? Mm-hmm. Once the light goes on, you're going to want to seek more knowledge. So we have about 300 kids from kindergarten to high school. Currently, we have a temporary school shelter, and our teachers, who are warriors, are doing an amazing job, but they need help. Like, we want a school that has a science lab, a computer lab, a library, much like the schools that we have here, so that these kids are not only going to go from kindergarten to 12th grade on the mountain, then go on to advanced education, but that they would come back also and lend a hand, whether that's them teaching themselves or assisting the professors that are there. So we are very excited about that, and we have some events coming up to raise the funds towards that and the Continuous Care Initiative home.
Yeah. And so when you look at where you are right now in terms of helping educationally and really to building up and helping in the educational platform, I know you've done things with wells and water and really helping out over there. What do you see as being the primary need in Haiti at this moment?
The primary need, stability. If I would have to choose one word, it would be stability, because it's hard to build in instability. It's hard to be sustainable in instability. It's hard to have impact in instability, right? So it's, if this is happening, as opposed to you can build on this, it's hard to build on that. That's one of the reasons I'm glad, like I said, we're on this mountain, because a lot of what's going around in the country, we are almost shielded from, in the sense that it's far enough away that we can actually have some stability. And so we want to continue that. Creating the Health and Wellness Center will be a place where even when there is earthquakes, people will be able to come there as a shelter. The school, the same thing, stability for these kids, so that when they're done, they will go out into the world and be able to compete.
I can't let you go without talking about the event you got coming up too. Got an event on Twitch. Yes. So let's talk about that and make sure our viewers know a little bit about what you got coming up and how they can also support.
Thank you. So in full disclosure, this was one of our C2C neighbors who actually came up with the idea. And I'm grateful for them, because they're always coming up with fresh ideas to help us. And one of our friends of C2C, who's been a partner as well. So basically on Saturday, November the 6th, we're going to have what is called Party for a Purpose. So it is 7 DJs, one party, all for the C2C Haiti Restoration and Transformation Pilot Project. So we're excited because these DJs play various genres. So we're going to have hip hop, we're going to have R&B, we're going to have old school, we're going to have ska, we're going to have Haitian music, some soca, some juju, everything is going to be there, right? And we're just excited for folks to come. So you guys are getting it first knowledge, actually, because we haven't even started promoting it. So
exclusive. We take exclusives right here on Perspectives.
Yeah,
we call
this is an exclusive. We haven't even, it's not anywhere except for literally on our website. So this is my first time talking about it. So thank you, Daren, for that. So again, Saturday, November the 6th, it's 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Party for a Purpose on Twitch, 7 DJs, 1 party, all for C2C. And this is going to help impact all of the initiatives that we are working on, as well as helping our neighbors in the South who are still, coming out of the earthquake as well. So folks can go onto our website. If you subscribe to our newsletter, then you will know exactly what to do, when to do it. If you follow us on either IG or on Facebook or on Twitter, you will also know what is going on. So I encourage you, as we say, our call is come be a part of something greater than yourself. If you're in the camp, then you'll know exactly what's going on. So we invite all of your viewers to join and party in their living rooms all day long. Hey,
want to do that is we want our people to come and be a part of that. It's awesome. Give me a quick synopsis before we go. We talked about 2010, the earthquake happened that first time, right? And then we talked about the recovery thereafter. How long did it take to recover after that first one? I mean, I know we're still in 2021 dealing with this, but just give us an idea in 2010, how long was that recovery?
I think it just depends, right? On what it is that you're working on. So I would say for us, it took us the better part of 5 years for the water distribution system. We are still working on getting the full funding to build the school, because between 2010 and 2020, there were hurricanes, which destroyed the temporary school shelter. So it is really dependent on what you're working on. But I will tell you that we won't stop until it is completed, period.
We got to leave it there, but I want to thank you. Continue to do the great work that you're doing. Obviously, Community2Community has been a great voice for Haiti here in the United States, in the New York City area, fundraisers, events, and awareness. Thank you so much, Marie, for being with us, CEO of Community2Community. Great having you. And don't be a stranger. Come back soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All righty. We want to let our viewers know we are about out of show, but definitely, you can come back next week. Check us out with another episode of Perspectives. But when you think about what's going on in Haiti, there are ways to help. And so Marie's got a great, credible organization, Community2Community. People say, I can't go to Haiti. I wish I could do something for Haiti. Well, think about how you can donate to her and her causes and the things that are going on out there, because she's not only just building people, she's building lives and she's building community. And they're doing an excellent job. So if there's a way that you can partner, a way that you can help out, please take the time to go help out our brothers and sisters in Haiti. And again, it's been a pleasure having Marie. It's also been a pleasure having you here on Perspectives. I'm Daren Jaime. Thanking you for joining us. Until the next time we meet, stay safe, share your perspective with somebody else. You just don't know. It might make a difference in someone else's life. Take care and God bless.
Many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective with shines of light, cause it might make